This is the second video of me trying to get this mower straightened out. I believe this is Francis. It's a TB110, troybilt TB110. And yesterday we turned the flywheel key over because it had been bumped. There's no need to replace it. It wasn't sheared, but it had been bumped enough to where I felt like I should at least turn it over. The reason you see that little screw there is whoever worked on this last and installed the wrong plate, air cover plate here, left that screw out. It goes right there. I don't know if you can see that hole. And then the matching one is there. And then we've got the two smaller ones which are there, and that holds this plate to the carburetor. So I'm going to be taking this plate off because it doesn't go with this. This is a self-priming linkage here, and this is not a self-priming carburetor, so that was put on later as well. So let's start. I've got a this is the kind of plate that's going to go on here. This is a self-priming plate, and I'm hoping it'll fit with that tank. I think it will. If not, I may have to leave that one in place and just make it a primer type. The carburetor that's on here, as you can see, is not self-priming. There's only one linkage there that goes to the automatic governor, and this is the type of carburetor that should go on there. And the carburetors are basically the same except for this mechanism here, which clips on the side. So you actually could take this off, this whole thing off, and clip it on the side of there, and then make this a self-priming one if you ran this choke plate through here and this rod. And this is how it works. The thermostat, it gets hot and pushes this, because the linkage is going to go into that little tiny hole there. And as it gets hot, it goes whoop, and opens the choke. So when you walk up to start this mower, it's going to be in that position. So it's being choked, and it's going to pull a lot of raw fuel in there, which is what you need when the engine's cold. So let's go to work. We're going to get this off of here, I hope, and hope this thing will become a self-primer. Let's find out. So I'm going to get my, let me clear this spot here. I got too much stuff on the table. All right, let me get my gloves on. And I don't think there was any fuel in the tank, if I remember right from yesterday. I take this off first and then pull the tank off. So let's do that. I'm going to get a 5/16 socket to remove the one screw that matches this one, which attaches the outside of this plate to the the outside of this plate to the bracket that surrounds this manifold. Let's see if this will come off easily or not. We'll try it. Okay, that's pretty good. So we got that one off. You can see they match. Actually, somebody, anyway, that'll do. It's not really a match. And now we got to take off the inner ones, and we're going to use a 9/32 socket for that. And that plate then can be pulled off. I've got one screw there. It's not coming very easy. Let me get my little magnet here. There we go. And the one underneath the primer bulb, which is down here, these are all loose, not very tight. Now, right now, this should just come off after I free it up from this little crankcase vent tube. So that's off. That's in pretty decent condition, so we'll save that for sure. And let's look here. Carburetor doesn't look too bad. Okay, so now this is you're gonna wiggle this off. I'm gonna take this tank off and see if, well, it means what's what here. That hose clamp is not even in the right position to make a good seal. So let's get that off. I like to use a flat-headed set of pliers here. Let me grab that thing, put it all the way over. And this will probably come out easy because I think this was added. Oh, there goes the tank. There's a little bit of fuel in this carburetor, I can see that. So let me walk out here and get rid of that. Hang on a second. All right, I just left that carburetor out there to drain, and this tank, let's see how much fuel's in here, if any. It had a little bit in it. Let me try and get rid of that. What I'm going to do now is try to determine if this setup is even going to work by at least temporarily putting the gas tank back on here. Put that into place. And now let's see if this plate's even going to fit on here. Yeah, that fits. I think that's going to fit okay. I definitely see clearance around here. Some of these don't always line up real well, but I think that's going to work. Let me get this tank off again because I want to put some good fuel in this tank and kind of swish it around, clean it, you know, because there may be water in here. Who knows? Let me do that. So I just poured, you know, like 1/4 of a cup of good quality stabilized fuel in here. And this is just a simple poor man's way of cleaning the tank out. If it's not too dirty, you just put some good fuel in there and swish it around. All right, and so now I'm going to go out and dump this little 1/4 cup out. Okay, I'm sorry for the delay. I know you don't want to just sit there with nothing going on, but had to get that fuel out of there. I've got most of it out just to soak up the rest of it. I'm going to get a paper towel and put it down inside the tank, and I shake the tank with that paper towel in there. That'll help soak up what little bit of fuel is remaining in there. So take the paper towel, try to push it, lengthwise down there, almost down to the bottom. And now I'm going to hold on to it and just kind of shake this around. And I don't see any fuel, there's some dripping out. So yeah, there's still some in there. Yeah. Let me shake a little bit more, hang on. Okay. I think that's going to be all right. So now we take our, let me look at this hose. It looked like it might have had a crack in it. It's probably going to be okay. So we take our hose here and we take our new carburetor and we put it on here and slide it on. If it doesn't slide on easy, it's okay to put a little drop of WD-40, but that slid on real easy. So again, I get my flathead pliers, and now I slide this over here in the right position. I think that's going to be okay. And now I believe that this linkage may be a little bent, so I'm going to bend it a little bit up this way. There we go. And let's see if it's going to line up now. So we take the automatic governor linkage and we turn this whole unit, the carburetor, tank, and everything, and get it on that L. And now we slide it so the linkage is over the top of this metal bracket, not under, over. All right, and I do have my little gaskets in place. It looks like it's a little warped. There we go. That's good. Okay, now it's in place. Glad I looked at that. And so now I've got this sort of where I can start to put it on, but before I do that, I want to get my tank on. Well, you know what? Before I do that, let me swing all this back out again. I need to replace this governor spring. I mean, look at that thing. It's all stretched out and horrible. So that's unacceptable. But you know what? I've got one sitting over here, and I took off a mower just the other day. Right there. So let's put it on here. I'm going to take this end and hook it through the automatic governor arm. There we go. And then take the other end and run it so it goes through the little hole here in this piece of the linkage. And I think it's going to be, yep, that's going to be okay. See there? Let me show you what I just did. So I took that open end, the single thing, put it through that arm, and then I put this rather complicated part through there. And now that should work. So let me set the phone back down. We'll see if we can get this kind of reassembled here, and then we'll take a break. All right, so we got the metal governor arm here, the linkage for that, get the carburetor so it's sort of in place, not completely. And then we slide our tank on with these little clips, get it in place. And now we ease this into place. And you do have to, there's a little piece of plastic here that has to go. Let me get something to point with. There's a little piece of plastic right there. And that's got to go in that gap. Otherwise, this hole's not going to line up with the plastic plate that holds is the air filter base. So let me put this back over here. And I'm going to carefully begin to put this in, but at the same time, I'm going to try and put this thermostat, the extension of the thermostat, in this carburetor. So I'm turning the carburetor. Let me do it with these hands. I'm going to turn the carburetor. I've already got that, the automatic governor in there. Now I've got to hook this up to this tiny little hole there in that arm. So that is now in there. And now I can put this on. So I've got the right spot there, that bracket going on, and now I can push this on. I think. There we go. Okay, so that's flush. Okay, you see, this is not working because this has been bent, so I need to actually shorten this a little bit, I think. Yeah, so I'm going to bend it back maybe where it was. There we go, look at that. Okay, so now the choke plate is in position. So when it gets hot, it's going to come over this way like that. But I guess that thing, to me it looked bent, but clearly it wasn't. So now it's in the right position. So it's cold, it's in that position, it gets hot, comes that way. All right. So that's looking pretty good. All right, so we're gonna now try to put this plate on. Get that debris off of there. That pin there and that pin there is gonna go on the two holes. That's just a big slot. That's where that goes. And then this is a hole. So got that in a hole and got that in that slot. And now I make sure that I've got my crankcase vent tube attached to the back. And now I can put my screws back in using the, let me make sure it's lining up. It looks like those holes are lining up pretty good. So I've got to get the 5/16 on here. I'm going to start them. I'm not going to snug them up just yet. Got a few turns on there. And now I'm going to do a few turns on the other one. Okay, that's back out a few. So this plate is still somewhat loose. And that's so if I need to move it up or down or move the carburetor up and down, it'll help that, help align that. Now where did that other screw go? I'm missing the other 9/32 screw. But that's okay, I've got spares if I can't find it. It looks like it's lining up. Let me get my flashlight. Let's see if I see the hole in the carburetor. I see that one pretty good. It looks like I've got to move the carburetor that way or move the plate this way. So let me try that. I'm going to try shifting I'm going to push on the carburetor and pull on that. Let's see if I can get that to line up. Okay, I think that's going in there. All right, if I find that other screw, we'll get me another one. Where did that thing go? There it is. So here's the other screw that is going to hold this plate onto the face of the carburetor. Let's see if I can get that one lined up. My little flashlight says that it's very close, but the carburetor is really sort of that way, so I'm going to kind of angle it in a little bit in order to get it started. And I think it's going in there. Right now I'm going to use my power drill, but I'm going to put the torque on it real weak. And I'm going to get these to snug up. And then do the 5/16 on the outer part. Okay, so that's good. That's good. Now one little, there we go. One little, so that's pretty snug. And now I can tighten up the two on the outside. Now I can torque these because this is going into that metal bracket. So that's good. That's good. Let's see how these feel. I'm going to just do this with my hands, or just use my little 1/4" drive hand screwdriver, as they say. Let's see if, yep, that's all we need. That's snug enough. So we've got our tank on. We've replaced the primer base, the primer, with this one. So this is a self-priming mower. Self-priming engine, self-priming carburetor, etc. And I think we can take a break now. When we come back, I will have gone ahead and attach the coil, reattach the coil. I took that off in order to get the flywheel key off and flip it over. But everything's looking good. Let me look at the governor's working. So that's good. All right, let me cut this camera off. When you come back, we'll resume.